Great to see so many friends here in Marshfield. It really is an honor and privilege to be here, and great job. Uh, I want to go through saying hi to everyone, but I'm not going to do that to everybody. My name is Diana DiZoglio. I'm a state senator from the Merrimack Valley. Uh, Many of you know my story. I know many of you personally, but for those who don't, I was born to a 17-year-old single mother in the city of Methuen. We moved around quite a bit during my childhood, depending on where my mother could find work as a young nurse's aide at the time. I went through the public school system and was able to go off to community college and obtain an associate's degree thanks to our Democratic legislature's investments in families like mine. From there, I earned a seat at Wellesley College, where I was so grateful to attend, but the only reason I was able to attend there was because of a full financial scholarship. And the reason why I think it's so important to talk about that is because it really was due to those financial investments made into my future success, regardless of my family background, my bank balance, or my zip code, that I was able to actually see some future success. And knowing that really inspired me to give back to my community in whatever way I could. And since I couldn't do so financially, I decided to get into community service. As a childhood survivor of domestic violence, I went to go work in a young teen girls' home as a live-in mentor, working specifically with young teen girls who had survived domestic violence in the home. I also served as a program coordinator at Girls Inc. and also served as a cultural arts coordinator at the United Teen Equality Center, helping to expand their diversity, equity, and inclusion programming. Now, simultaneously through these years, look, I was waiting tables and ran a small cleaning business to make ends meet. As many people know, you might love what you do for your day job, but it doesn't always pay the bills so that you can live in the community that you're working in. And it was during this time of juggling those positions that I was offered a job working at the State House in the House of Representatives. There was a state rep who needed somebody who spoke fluent Spanish and had deep community ties, and I needed health insurance. But I'll be honest with you, friends, I had no idea what a state representative did. Legislature wasn't part of my vocabulary. Constituent wasn't part of my vocabulary. This is one of the reasons why I've been such an advocate for civic education in our public schools. But when I went to work at the State House, it was like drinking water from a fire hose. And I learned about all the great things that our state government can do to help families and our communities, from investing in education to fighting against climate change. And make no mistake, I have fought alongside of your legislators down there. They've been champions on coastal resiliency and climate change issues. We battle that up here as well with the coast. But look, I learned about all of the great things that our state government can do. And I also learned about the flip side of how our state government can operate. As a younger woman in my 20s, this was over 10, 11 years ago, I was sexually harassed working in the House of Representatives in our own people's house. And the way that it was thought appropriate to deal with that harassment was to require that I sign a taxpayer-funded non-disclosure agreement that prevented me from talking about anything that I had seen, witnessed, or experienced behind those closed doors amongst our most powerful politicians on Beacon Hill. But I didn't let them get rid of me or keep me quiet. I didn't leave state for myself, and a little over a year made my way back into that chamber as the youngest woman serving in the House of Representatives at the time. When I got elected, new ability to fight like hell for other families in our communities who, like my family was, and maybe for completely different reasons, but for who, like my family was, have either been dismissed or ignored or disenfranchised by a system in our state government that's just not working for all families in Massachusetts like it could and like it should. I took on that battle regarding those taxpayer-funded NDAs, the abuse of your tax dollars and silencing victims of abuse across state government. That's a fight that I took with me to the state Senate, where I'm proud to say we've unanimously passed my bill to ban the abuse of those agreements using your tax dollars. But we have a Republican administration, friends, that continues to dig their heels in on abusing your tax dollars in this way and in so many other areas. I think about the shutdown, when Governor Baker took precious vaccines that were supposed to come back to our local communities and instead diverted them to mass vaccination sites and to his friends in the private sector with no bid, no RFP contracts in the millions of tax dollars. As a result, our elderly, our disabled, our immunocompromised, those without transportation suffered as a result. When that happened as a senator, I stood up, I called for equitable access, and I also called for a full audit and an investigation into the tax dollars that were wasted during that time. When the Holyoke Soldiers Home tragedy occurred, we lost 77 veterans due to the mismanagement at that home. And it took a Boston Globe Spotlight team investigation to uncover the fact that our governor had told falsehoods before our oversight hearing in the Senate, denying that he had ever met, sworn in, and interviewed the superintendent of that Holyoke Soldiers Home. When that happened, I stood up. I demanded the governor come back before us under oath so that this time we could get the truth. Of course, for transparency and accountability, but more so because the families of those who lost loved ones, they deserve the truth and they deserve justice. When McKinsey Consulting continued to be contracted with, despite the fact that our attorney general had stood up and announced a lawsuit against them for their complicit actions alongside of Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family, helping them cover up their contributions to the opioid crisis by willingly lying about the addictive properties of their product, OxyContin. Our governor continued to contract with this company in the millions of our taxpayer dollars. When that happened, I stood up as a senator, demanded Governor Baker stop abusing our tax dollars on a company that's not only proven to abuse the public's trust, but contributed willingly to the opioid crisis that has devastated countless families across our communities, including mine and many of yours. As state senator, I've been standing up, I've been speaking out, I've been calling for audits, I've been demanding investigations, but as your next state auditor, I won't need to keep calling for audits and demanding investigations. I will audit and I will investigate these matters and much, much more on your behalf, because we know, friends, sunlight is the best disinfectant. And for as forward thinking as we claim to be here in the great state of Massachusetts, our state government continues to be ranked by almost every single good government group as the least transparent state government in the entire nation. And that was made crystal clear this last week when we hit our 700th day of being the only state house in the entire nation that continues to keep its doors closed to the public so that the public can get access to their legislators and what's happening on Beacon Hill. We need to see some changes. We need an auditor that will work hard to shine a light in the dark areas of our state government. And that's my commitment to you. I will be that auditor. I have a strong track record over the last 10 years in the legislature of going toe-to-toe with the governor and on taking on the establishment when it matters for working families. I respectfully ask for your support and your vote, and I thank you for all you do for Democrats up and down the ballot. We can't do anything we do without all of you. So a big thank you just for having us on tonight and for coming onto this Zoom call. Thanks so much.